Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Landon. Welcome to Called. If you're joining us for the first time, a very special welcome to you. And you're diving into week 2 of our series, True Colors. Now, if you missed last week, you can rewatch that message on our app, on our YouTube channel. But to give you a little recap, we're talking about the topic of integrity. True colors, we're just saying we're going to reveal our true colors, and we see other people's true colors be revealed to us. And when our true colors are revealed, are we living a life of integrity? And we talked about last week that integrity means that what we do behind closed doors matches what we do in public. That our true colors is really our true colors. But we had small groups last week, and we had a lot of feedback from you, and a lot of leaders said, this is coming straight from you guys, that some of you have defined integrity this way. It's doing the right thing even when no one is looking. And that is awesome. That's exactly what integrity is. So, for the purposes of moving forward, we are going to define integrity even simpler, and we're going to define it like this. Integrity is doing the right thing always. Come on, someone say always. Integrity is doing the right thing always. It means doing the right thing all day, every day, behind closed doors, in the public, always. And so because we're defining integrity this way, we realize that integrity really deals with two things. It deals with what we do, what people see us do, and it deals with what we say. In fact, last week we talked a little bit about what we do. We asked 3 questions at the end last week. What we're about to do, is it the best for us? Is it the best for other people? And is it the best for our relationship with God? We define that as the integrity test. And so we need to be careful about what we do, because what we do is going to feed into this life of integrity. But it's not just what we do, it's also what we say. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Tonight we're talking about how we can manage and tame our tongue. And I'll be honest, a lot of us have heard, sayings that go kind of like this, that our actions speak louder than our words. And I think that is super true. But we also heard sayings like this, that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And I just think living in the day and age that we live right now, that is totally not true. In fact, sometimes our words hold a little bit more weight than our actions. I mean, when we look at social media, it's just pictures and words. When we look at texting, it's just words. Communication is just words. And now today, you can be bullied strictly by words, and a finger isn't even laid on you. That there's no action behind it, but it's the words that hurt. And so if you and I are going to live a life of integrity, we need to make sure that our actions are good, but we also need to make sure that our words are good. We're going to dive into a scripture, and it's in James, and I'm going to just set this up for you. James is talking about a lot of little things. He's talking about little things that make big impacts. So he starts with talking about how you can steer a big horse, the animal of a horse, with a little small metal piece in its mouth, and that you can steer this animal by that small piece. He then goes to say that you can steer a whole boat, a big boat, by the small rudder in the back, and this small little thing is steering the direction of the boat. And then he says that a small spark, someone say small, a small spark in the middle of a forest can ignite a forest fire. And James is talking about all these little things that have a big impact. And then he says it's exactly like our tongue. It's exactly like our tongue. That our tongue, even though we think it's small, can make a big impact. So this is where we're going to pick it up. We're going to pick it up in James chapter 3. It says this. It says, likewise, he's comparing the tongue to all the things that I just said. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. What is he saying? That he's saying that the tongue is small, but it can make great statements. It can make great impacts. It can do big things, even though it is small. So this is why you and I, if we're going to show our true colors and live a life of integrity, we need to manage and tame our tongue. Someone say, tame your tongue. We need to tame our tongue. What does that mean? It just means that we need to control what we say. So this is going to be the main point for today. And it's this. In order for you and I to tame our tongue, to control what we say, we need to do this. We need to think before we speak. Someone say think. We need to think before we speak. And in fact, in James chapter 1, verse 19, it says this. It says, everyone, someone say everyone. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This is James' way of saying you need to think before you speak. We need to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. A lot of us, we are quick to speak and slow to listen. But if we're going to think before we speak, then we need to be quick to listen. We need to gather all the information before we make an accusation, before we make a statement, before we spread a lie that may not be true. We need to be quick to listen and slow to speak. When someone says something harmful for us, we need to be quick to listen to their situation. Hey, what's going on at home? How are you doing? Why is that coming from this person? We need to be quick, in other words, to think, to understand where everything is coming from before we speak. We need to think before we speak. I remember when I learned this, I was a kid and I was in elementary school, and I remember it was right after school. My mom was picking us up. I called her to let her know that school was done, and then I made up for some reason, and I wasn't mad at anyone. I just was using my words to have what I thought was some fun. And so I was talking to my mom. I said, oh yeah, pick us up in the back of campus. But right now, my brother and sister, Elise and Logan, yeah, they're in the principal's office. And she's like, what? I go, yeah, because they were fighting. They said some things. Logan was hitting her, and they got called to the principal's office. And she was mad, and I just kept going and going and going with this story. But in the background, Logan is actually right behind me walking. Elise is right behind him, and we're all walking together. And they're yelling their heads off because they're saying, no, it's not true. We're right here. We're right behind them. We're not in the principal's office. And I thought that my mom could hear them the whole time. So I just went on and on because I thought that it was a joke. Well, we get in the car and my mom turns around and she starts yelling at my brother and sister. And she's saying, what do you guys do to each other? Why are you guys in the principal's office? And I am pretty much shocked because I thought this whole time that I was just joking. And I thought that she knew that I was joking. And so I'm sitting in the back saying, I'm like, whoa. Like, all of that was a joke. Like, all of that was a lie. It was just a joke that I was telling, and I thought you knew that. And from my mom being mad at them, she started to be mad at me. Why? Because she said that my words has a big impact on what other people think. She didn't know that I was joking, so she thought that my brother and sister were in big trouble, and she was mad at them, ready to discipline them. And she said, Landon, you need to be careful with your words. I need to think before I speak. You need to think before you speak. So as we end, we're going to have another small group time where your leaders are going to lead you in some questions. You get to kind of just dive deeper, talk through some things, get prayer, whatever you need. This is just a safe place that we can come together to build each other up. But as we close, I want you to get your phones out or have your notes out, because I want you to write down what I'm about to put on the screen. I don't expect you to memorize it, but I think this is a good resource for you to have in order for you to really think before you speak. When we think before we speak, we can think of these questions. Check this out. When we think before we speak, we need to think, is this true? What I'm about to say, is it true? In the example of my story, what I was telling my mom that happened to my brother and sister, that was not true. Sometimes we think that a joke doesn't equal a lie, but sometimes we categorize a lie as a joke so that you and we don't feel bad about what we're saying. When the truth is, that joke is really a lie to hurt someone. So when we think, we need to think, is this true? Then we need to think, is it helpful? What I'm about to say, is it helpful? If it's not, then we don't need to say it at all. Is it inspiring? When I'm about to talk, is what I'm about to say going to encourage and inspire someone or bring them down? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? The things that I'm about to share, the things that I'm about to say, is it necessary? Is it needed, in other words? Is it needed in the situation that I'm in? And the last thing is it kind? So is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it needed? Is it necessary? And is it kind? That's how you and we need to think. We need to think before we speak. Because if it's none of those things, then we're really not speaking out of a life of integrity, and your true colors will be shown very soon. And so as we dive into our small groups, I want you to think before you speak, but I also want you to be open and share, because I believe that healing comes through small groups like these. So let's close our eyes and bow your heads as your house party leader closes you in prayer.